Before we get today's video started, want to give a shout out to today's video sponsor, Home Field Apparel. Look at some of these jackets and some of these hoodies and just Texas Tech apparel that they have right here. My absolute favorite is that Texas Tech women's basketball national championship 1993 vintage t-shirt. You got the bomber jacket. You've got the hoodies. You've got some of the best, most creative Texas Tech shirt I've seen, and I've owned a few myself. So if you want to go get your new favorite Texas Tech shirt, and listen, the holidays are right around the corner. Save 15% by using the code BACK212 over on homefieldapparel.com to get your new favorite Texas Tech t-shirt. All right, let's jump into today's video as we will discuss Texas Tech men's basketball and their 3-0 start to the season, albeit maybe a little disappointing to some in terms of how they got there. Definitely wasn't the prettiest way to get there, but 3-0 is 3-0, right, when it comes down to it. Before we get into the recap for Texas Tech against Texas A&M Corpus Christi, I want you to do two things for me. First and foremost, simply like the video if you're excited to have Texas Tech men's basketball back. There's still a lot of energy around the program with Grant McCasland in year number 1, and if you're excited for that, and the upcoming battle for Atlantis down in the Bahamas where they get to play Villanova, potentially North Carolina, we'll discuss that in today's video as well. Just simply like the video for me and then answer this one question down on the pinned comment down below. Your one word to describe the first 3 games for Texas Tech men's basketball. Just one word. I'm sure somebody's going to say brick. I'm sure somebody's going to say disappointing, even though they're 3-0, just because of how they've looked offensively. But let me know down in the comments below your one word to describe Texas Tech men's basketball through the first 3 games of the Grant McCasland era. All right, the Red Raiders took on Texas A&M Corpus Christi, the Islanders, and the Osmosis Jones look-alike mascot for Texas A&M Corpus Christi. If you know, you know. Texas Tech won 73-64. It was not pretty by any stretch of the imagination. Chance McMillian led the way with 17 points off the bench, the only guy really that shot decent from 3 in this game for the Red Raiders. Darrion Williams recorded a double-double and proves once again how valuable he is going to be for the Red Raiders as he led the team with 14 rebounds. Speaking of rebounding, Warren Washington, he had 13 points and 8 rebounds, and there was a little bit of a scare in this one as Warren went down hard about, I don't know, a little into the second half, and everybody was kind of freaking out a little bit because pay attention to Texas Tech basketball, you know they don't have much depth in the front court. He was fine. It looked like he was a cramp in the first play back in for the game. Well, he had a steal. It was a breakaway and then had a powerful dunk as well. So he looks to be just fine. Joe Toussaint led the ship and guided it, I should say, in the second half, late in the second half to really help Texas Tech get to that finish line and win. Again, it wasn't pretty by any stretch of the imagination. And really, the thing that stands out, at least one of the two that really stand out, is the shooting. I thought this team was going to be vastly improved shooting, and I still think that they will be, but you can call me crazy from the first 3 games because they have not shot well at all. Through the first 3 games of the season, Texas Tech as a team is shooting just 20.6 from 3. Let me repeat that. 20.6 from 3. 1 of 5, basically, is what they're shooting from 3. The best rotation player shooting-wise right now from deep is Darrion Williams, who is shooting 30%. He shot close to 40 last year at Nevada, right? Both Pop Isaacs and Chance McMillian, the 2 best shooters on this team, it's not close, are both shooting right at 25% or just below 25% from 3. Listen, the shooting has not been good at all. But it will get better. Okay, let's just call it what it is. They're not going to shoot this bad all year. Texas Tech is going to live and die by the 3, like it or not. I've been telling people all year leading up to this season, listen, this is how you know if Texas Tech is going to win games. If in the Power 6 level, right? Like when they play Big 12 opponents, when they play Villanova, maybe North Carolina, whatever it may be down there in the Bahamas. If they shoot north of 35% from 3, they have a chance to almost beat anybody. If they shoot below 35%, and we're talking in that 30 range, they probably don't win, right? And that's just how it's going to be this year. This team is going to have to improve shooting. I think they will. They're going to have to get more out in transition. I think that's what they're built for and not this slow pace of play that they've shown in the first 3 games for a majority of them, right? They've gotten out in transition some, specifically in game number 1. But these past 2 games, they've really slowed it down into the half-court setting. I just don't think that's how this team is built. They're going to have to go out, get in transition, try to get as many baskets, easy baskets, I should say, as possible in transition, and create as much space on the offensive end in the half-court setting as they possibly can, because that's where they're going to thrive the best, because these shooters are too good to shoot this bad for this long, okay? They will get better. I promise you that. All right, let's talk about the other thing that really, really stands out to me in terms of something that Texas Tech has to improve. And it feels like I'm being a Debbie Downer here. I'm not. I still think this team is solid, but they're going to have to improve on these things, especially against a team like Villanova, regardless of if they've lost a pin already this year, right? Turnovers have done no favors for the Red Raiders. Through 3 games, that they are averaging 15.3 turnovers per game. Texas Tech is. For reference, last season they averaged 13.7. Okay? Texas A&M Corpus Christi on Thursday night scored 18 points off Tech turnovers. Okay? The Red Raiders have tried to force the issue and haven't been aggressive. And I know that might sound like a double negative, but this is what I mean, okay? They seem to be trying to get everybody involved and passing up too many good looks. And to be fair, there have been some good looks that they have shot and they just haven't made. And maybe we're having a different conversation here when it's all said and done. But for me, I think your shooters are going to have to shoot, like it or not. That's what this team is. You either live by the 3 or you die by it, right? And for me right now, it seems like they're trying to get everybody involved and trying to get the perfect play there, right? Like they're just trying to get the perfect play set up. And that's just not going to happen in college basketball. It's just not. You got to take what the defense gives you sometimes. And to be fair, Texas Tech hasn't capitalized on some of that. But I think that the turnovers are something where they're just trying to force the issue in terms of getting everybody involved, when in certain situations, you just don't need that to happen. All right. You tell me, through 3 games, what is the biggest positive and what is the biggest negative so far for Texas Tech men's basketball? I know we're going to see some negatives in terms of the shooting, but what's the biggest positive so far for Texas Tech? For me, it's probably how the transfers have looked. I mean, the 5 key transfers that you have in the rotation right now, and Chance McMillian, Warren Washington, Darrion Williams, you got Joe Toussaint, Devin Cambridge. They've all looked good. Granted, it has been against non-power 6 opponents, but they are going to be vital to your success this year for the Red Raiders once you get back on track shooting the ball, and they've all looked good so far. All right, let's preview the battle for Atlantis, at least what we know right now for Texas Tech. They will play the Wildcats of Villanova in the first round of competition down in the Bahamas. I believe it's on the Paradise Islands. Sounds pretty good for me in terms of a Thanksgiving tournament to play in. Tip-off for Texas Tech and Villanova will happen on Wednesday, November 22nd at 1:30 p.m. Central Time. It will take place on ESPN2. They'll either play the winner of Northern Iowa or the Tar Heels of North Carolina, UNC, depending on if Texas Tech wins, loses. Same for Northern Iowa in North Carolina. Now, all the games for this tournament down in the Bahamas, which will take place from Thursday to Saturday down there, all games will be on the ESPN family, whether that's ESPN, ESPN2, or ESPNU. Down in the comments below, I will leave the full Battle for Atlantis scheduling graphic. It'll tell you what time they play, who's in the tournament, everything you need to know. But right now, the most important game for Texas Tech, it's the next one, and that will be against the Villanova Wildcats. I am RC Maxfield, reminding you one more time, if you want to be a part of the most engaging Texas Tech men's basketball community here on YouTube, you know what to do. Hit that like button. Might as well hit the subscribe button too, and stay in the know on Texas Tech men's basketball all year long right here on the Back to 12 podcast channel.